Hello, Taryn Watts is here today. How you doing, Taryn?
I am great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, even better now. I love this is my favorite part of what I do
Yeah.
is just talking to people from all over the world. Now, where are you from again?
I am from Ottawa, Canada.
Ottawa, Canada. Nice.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
um, I'm a little geographically challenged.
Yeah, that's okay. Me too.
So where in Canada are you? Like, where is Ottawa near?
Okay, so we are in the province of Ontario. So Ottawa is the capital of Canada. We're in the province of
Right?
Ontario, and we are, I would say we're about 3 hours drive. Well, I guess depending on where you're going, but a 3 hour drive from New York. So just like above New York.
Okay. I
New
was
York
thinking
State.
it
Yeah.
was up
Yeah.
more on the east side of Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Canada's a big country.
It's huge.
It's
It's huge.
huge.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, great. All right. So you are the founder of the Mind Rebel Academy, and I want to
Mhm.
talk about that. But before we get to that, tell me about your story because we all have a story. And usually when you get into the work that you and I both do, there's usually some sort of story behind it of how we got to the
Mhm.
point in our life where we're like, okay, I need to help other people. I want to help other people. So tell me
Yeah.
your story.
Yeah. So my story is, for many, many, many years, I had this like deep yearning to be of service and to help people, and I didn't quite know what that could be or what that could look like. I got a great job right out of university with a crown corporation in Canada, and it was a great job, great benefits. We call it the golden handcuffs, great pension, all the things. And but I was just so not passionate about what I was doing at all. And it actually wasn't until I became a mom, and I had my children very close in age. And in Canada, we have very comfy maternity leaves. We had at that time it was 12 months. Today it's 18 months, if you can believe it. I know.
That's
I know.
crazy.
I know.
In the United
I know. It's like,
States,
yeah,
there's very few companies left that actually pay women
yeah,
or or men for that matter to
yeah.
have that time off. And if you can take the time off, but you don't get paid for it, you have to use
Right,
your vacation.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
never
it's
get paid for it. Yeah,
very different, very, very, very different. So I had these
that's
two
amazing.
beautiful, comfortable maternity leaves with my two kids, but it wasn't until I went back to work after my last child was born, my daughter, and I, I had this moment one day. I was sitting in this boardroom. So I was a couple of weeks back from maternity leave with Shay, and I was sitting in this boardroom, and there were all these people so passionate and so excited about what we were there to talk about, this project that we were working on. And I had this almost out of body experience, just almost looking down at the scene, thinking every single human in this room is so passionate about what they're talking about, except me. And I'm sitting here just counting down the hours, waiting to get home to my kids. Like, well, there's now nanny at home taking care of my kids that like 80% of my paycheck is going to anyway, right? So it was this moment of I drew a line in the sand, and I thought I'm doing this. Coaching is a passion of mine. I had found coaching years earlier, and I was ready to dive in head first, become an entrepreneur, and really I had to create a plan in order to leave the safety of my corporate job because we weren't in a financial position to be able to just leave. But that was the fire. It was my kids. So that was the fire within to really do this.
Wow. And I can totally relate to that because when my son was born, he'll be 22 in like 2 weeks. I can't believe it.
Wow.
It goes by so fast.
Wow.
I owned an IT recruiting company. And at that time, when he was born in the year 2000, we were just rocking and rolling. And it was, it was just, the revenues were just coming in left and right. I had 12 employees and I was going to put him in daycare. And I remember it was like the day before I was supposed to drop him off. I went to the daycare center. I was supposed to give a deposit or something. and I looked through the little window and I saw all these babies lined up in their car seats, the car seat carriers. And I just started to cry. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this.
Wow.
And I ended up getting a nanny, and then as fate would have it, I ended up having to I sold the company about 2 years later, and I was able to be home with him from the age of 2.5 until he was
Wow.
11. I stayed home with him for all those years. But that's when I
Wow.
started my life coaching business during that
Wow.
time. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing. It's amazing that our kids, I mean, it's amazing, but not, right? But our kids can be this fire, this fuel. I had a lot of fear around the unknown and a lot of fear around, I'm a very risk adverse human. That's like my genetic makeup is pretty risk adverse. And so leaving the safety of a corporate job to start something on my own felt like I was putting my whole family in danger. That's what it felt like. But it was almost as if it took the love for my children and it's just like the desire to get them on and off the bus every day, to do something I'm passionate about so that I can be a full, happy, joyful human for them. And it was them. They were 1 and 2, my kids at the time when I did this, and it was them that lit that fire inside.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So tell me about your program, the Mind Rebel
Yeah.
Academy. So what does that entail? And yeah, just give me
Sure.
all the details on
All the
that.
deets. Yeah, so
All
the
the
Mind Rebel
deets.
Academy, we are an ICF accredited coach training organization. So
Wow.
we train world-class coaches all over the world to the highest designation you can get within the International Coaching Federation. And so we've been, when I left my corporate job and to become a coach full time, I developed this coaching methodology called the Mind Rebel Method. And so I was practicing this methodology and taking a lot of clients through this methodology when I was coaching one-on-one. And then all of a sudden, the famous quote that life first speaks to you in whispers, and then it gets louder and louder and louder. And so that's what was happening. I had more and more clients saying, can you teach me to do what you just did to me so that I can do that for others? And so that's really how the Mind Rebel Academy was born, was just this inquiry this request from clients to be able to train people to do this. And so we created this beautiful curriculum, had it approved by the ICF to teach it to people. And now we are training people all over the world to become world-class coaches. It's been pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
That really is. That really is phenomenal, because that's a big, big undertaking.
Huge.
Especially, I mean, just to be an accredited coach with ICF is a big undertaking.
Yes.
At the same time, right? And then, So why would people come to your program as opposed to any of the other ones out there? Like, how does yours stand out?
Great question. Okay, so we call ourselves a boutique academy. So we're not a big kind of coach factory pumping out machine.
Right.
We are a boutique academy. We're it's a very intimate experience, and we're not for everyone. And we're actually quite clear about, we're actually not for everyone. We're never going to be the biggest. We don't ever want to be the biggest, but we want to be the best in our niche, for who we're for.
Right.
And really our program is a mix of that really high quality academic, accreditation, really founded in the core competencies of coaching. So it's very, very academic on one hand. And on the other hand, it's deeply spiritual. And so our students will say it's the perfect mix between woo and academia. It's like the perfect mix between these two worlds. And that's really the humans that we call in. They are, they have this spiritual side, maybe not identify, they don't necessarily identify with a particular religion, but that's okay if they do as well. But we believe that there is, we talk a lot about, this wisdom that lives inside of every single one of us, and we call that your soul, your intuition, your deeper knowing. And a lot of the work we do is to help students and their clients access that voice inside that knows something that their conscious mind maybe doesn't know yet, and that part of us that knows the way. And so that's the kind of energy that we bring in at the Mind Rebel Academy.
I love it. So for those people who maybe aren't as spiritual or whatever, what can you talk about? Because when you talk about the woo, I mean, there's a whole, that's a whole can of worms. Yeah. So can you give just a little bit more about that part of it? Because I know everybody understands the academic side of it. Yeah. Just because I feel like, my audience, there's definitely people out there who are looking to get certified as a coach. It's just their baby people that may like so just go a little bit more into that, just so that they have a little bit more comfort around that.
Okay. So we split our program up into two phases. So there's a part one, which we call the Mind Rebel Practitioner Training. And that phase is, it's a deeply inward journey for our students. So we teach our students the Mind Rebel methodology, but we, instead of just actually telling them how to do it, we actually take them through the journey. And so the part one is just this deeply introspective work. And then part two is the coach skills part of the training. So that's where it's much more academic. But part one lays the foundation. We believe that, I'm sure that you can relate to this, but we believe that as a coach, you can only go as deep with another as you're willing to go within yourself.
You got it.
Yeah. And so
that's absolutely correct.
Part one is about meeting yourself. Part one is, I shouldn't say woo, because it's really not woo. There's just like being with yourself, meeting yourself. We look at the parts of yourself that are stuck in fear and lack and limitation and scarcity. That's within every single one of us. And we bring those parts of ourselves to the light, and look at it and look at the ways in which, we call it, it's called the Rebel Mind Method, and or the Mind Rebel Method rather. And we believe that everyone has a rebel mind within. So this part of us that is very stuck in lack and limitation and fear and scarcity. And when we let this version of ourselves drive the bus, we are making decisions from that place, and we're on the detoured route. Like, we're on this detoured route that I'm sure every single human can relate to. I know I've camped out on the detoured route for years in fear. And so by meeting this part of ourselves and by really understanding how this part of ourselves operates in our lives, then we can start to change that. And we can start to ask ourselves, well, if I'm not that, then who am I? Like at the core of my being. And who is the most raw, true, authentic version of me? And so part one is all about meeting that version of ourselves, which is constantly growing and evolving. I love teaching this work because every time I take a new group of students or a new cohort through the Mind Rebel Practitioner Training, I'm meeting a new version of myself as well. I'm like peeling back more layers, and I'm like, whoa, okay, right? Because there's a lot of work in that. And so once we access that part of ourselves, then we can start asking ourselves, and from this place of clarity and from this place of knowing, what is the biggest vision I could hold for my life? What do I want to create for my life? And so we actually create a roadmap. We define the vision, and then we create a roadmap to help you really powerfully close the gap from where you are today to where you want to be. And so that's part one, is like, you do it yourself. You experience it yourself so that you can hold that kind of space for those you love and serve.
I love it. Yeah, because when you're coaching people, I mean, you really have to do that work yourself. But I feel like also people are drawn to coaching because they've already done a lot of work on themselves.
Yeah.
Or they've done some work on themselves, and they have that sense of self-awareness that gets them to the point in their life where they're like, I need to serve others now, and I want to help other people.
Yeah.
That's really amazing.
They feel a call, they feel a yearning, they feel a purpose and a meaning in that. And I know when I found coaching, I was like, oh, this is the thing that it was designed for me. It was like this beautiful profession and this vocation that it allows me to experience my most authentic self. It brings such enormous joy in my life.
I love it. I love it. So when you talk about first of all, let's go back to the training course. How long is the training course? Just to give people an idea of that.
Yeah, the full training is a full year. So part 1 is 3 months, part 2 is an additional 9 months. So the full accreditation is a full year.
Right. And that sounds about right for that level of certification. Yeah. That's really great. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about some of the philosophies that you share with your coaching students.
Yeah. Okay. So we talk a lot in our coach training about how to create and hold transformative space for the clients or the people that you're serving. And so a lot of people, I know I did, when I first started my coach training, it was over 10 years ago now. And I went into it because, yes, I had this burning desire to help people, and I had this like passion to be of service. But I had also been through, like you said, like I had been through an experience myself that helped me to find mindfulness, and it helped me to find myself. And I really had a lot of things I wanted to share. And I was so excited to share. And I went into coach training thinking like, I am an exceptional advice giver. So like, I'm going to be an exceptional coach. And it was very quickly into my training that my mentors were like, oh, Taryn, no. Like, coaching is not about advice giving. And I was like, well, what the heck are people going to pay me for that? I don't, what is this? Like, what is this profession? And what I realized is that people will pay you for far more than your advice, right? People will pay you to hold space for them to access their own, because there is nothing more powerful than connecting to that inner wisdom, that inner teacher, that intuition that knows the way, has all of your solutions, has all your next best steps. And so, that moment 10 years ago was it seemed small, but it was life altering to learn how to hold people whole, capable, resourceful, and creative, and to look at someone and not see them through my own lived experience, and not look at someone and think I need to solution for them or fix or solve. That this human in front of me has all of the answers within them. And through the skill set that I have as a coach, I can hold space for their deepest truth and wisdom to arrive in conversation with me. And that is like my most joyful state of being, is when I'm in that kind of conversation with another human. And so to now teach these skills for other people to do that for others is like, I feel like the luckiest human in the world.
And you are, because
Yeah.
you're making an impact and you're helping other people to have that same impact. And that's really what it's all about is, you know, making an impact in any way that we can. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience before we close up?
I would love to share that, you know, I always say that if everyone could learn these skills, you know, the skills of holding people whole, powerful questions, authentic listening, learning how to not filter what someone is saying through my own past lived experience, seeing them as this pure being, as unique as a thumbprint. I truly believe if everyone learned those foundational skills, we would wake up to a different world tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so for those listening, you know, even if you're like, I'm not even sure I want to be a coach, these skills have changed the way I parent, and I'm sure you can relate to that, right? Changed the way we see our children, the way we raise our children, the way I interact with my husband, my parents, my family. It's just changed the actual, you know, the neural pathways in my brain to see the world differently. And I just can't recommend coaching skills as life skills enough.
Right. It's so true, because they're not, I know in the United States, they're not teaching these life skills in school the way they really need to be.
Same with Canada. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they really, really do. Just those life skills need to be taught to children when they're young.
Yes.
And you need to introduce them. And I'm sure you did, just like I did with my son.
Right.
You know, like, he is one of the most compassionate people that I know.
And there's a reason for that, right?
And there's a reason for that. Exactly. I mean, some of these soft skills need to be learned. They're not always innate within us. And you can learn them. I believe, anyway.
I believe so too. I love that perspective.
Yeah. Taryn, this has been such a great conversation, and thank you so much. And I wish you and your Mind Rebel Academy all the best. And I'll make sure it's all in the show notes so that if somebody is interested in reaching out to you, that they can check out your website and reach out to you and learn more about your program.
Perfect. Thank you so much for today.
All right. Thank you.